away now.
So what, you had an interesting conversation with a staffer of another candidate? Who?
Yes. So yesterday morning, when I arrived at Baruch, I talked to this elderly man who was campaigning for Sarah. And what I normally do when I get to a site, I introduce myself to other people because I think it's polite to do. But I'm coming to find out that I just don't really want to talk to Sarah's campaign people because I don't know why, but they just have this rudeness to them. And my impression is that they're told to be rude to other candidates and campaigns. So yesterday, this elderly man, he lives near Madison Square Park. He tells me, I introduced myself, and he's just like, I took issue that you pointed out that, he's like, I got your mailer, and I took issue that you pointed out that she worked for de Blasio. And I'm like, but she did. She worked directly for him. And he's like, but there's nothing wrong with that. Like, she worked in his administration. I'm like, it is, because Lower Manhattan was under attack by de Blasio. We filed lawsuit after lawsuit against de Blasio. He destroyed East River Park. He passed the Soho no rezoning. And he was like, but she was just in his administration. And I responded, she worked directly for him. And then he was just like, well, it's not a big deal. And I'm like, his staff, his senior executives of his administration have contributed money to her campaign. He's mentoring her. And he's like, look who? And I said, Vicky Bean. And he stopped talking. And I said, I have a problem with her that she's from Chicago, and she's introducing herself as having a New York story. And that, why hide where you're from? If you're hiding where you're from, what else are you going to hide? And I said, she also removed that she worked for Carlina Rivera off of her LinkedIn profile. And he's like, he didn't really know what to say to that. And then he said, well, that's not a big deal. I mean, and I'm like, but Carlina's her mentor. She worked directly for Carlina. She's doing this. She's removing Carlina, that she worked for Carlina from her LinkedIn profile. She just says she worked in city government. She doesn't say she worked directly for de Blasio because she has learned that people don't like de Blasio. People don't like Carlina Rivera. If they knew that she worked for both of them at times when they were destroying our Lower Manhattan, they wouldn't vote for Sarah. So I do have, and he was like, I'm gonna go over here now. And then later, shortly later, I think he must have called Sarah, and she came over. And Sarah took him into Bagel Express to get and they came out, and they have really good bagels there. And she's like, yes, I know. I bought him a birthday coffee. So it was the guy's birthday.
And he liked de Blasio? Or he just said there was nothing wrong with hiding who you worked for in the past?
Right. He thought, yes. And then I saw him today, but he didn't talk to me.
Interesting.